I think this is where you need to get the compassionateness and empathy, which are the soul of architecture, you know, which is lost somewhere when we focus on the design and the details, and you know, you just don't realize that there is a society whom you are supposed to cater to first.
Exactly. We used the same approach in one of our project, but it was a competition project, not the real project, and we won first prize for that.
Wonderful. Well, I will interrupt you here, and I must tell the audience that we are just listening about their journey as the undergraduate and postgraduate students, but they have created an amazing what we call an empire of your own in this past 7.5 to 8 years. Of course it is, because in just 7 to 8 years, whatever you have achieved through competitions, through your projects, is amazing. And I would love to hear from you that how you began, how you got, in fact even how you approached your clients, how you took the projects. So one competition is one thing wherein, you know, I suppose every young architect who starts with an entrepreneurship or somewhere should apply to. Yeah, so how did it go?
So, competition or the
Competition you were just saying.
yeah. So what Reena just told about the community, how we should celebrate the community rather than just giving them four walls to stay.
Yeah.
So we took the same approach in one of the project, which was a social housing for micro housing for future India, for especially Mumbai. So we took a site in
No, so
Fisher.
yeah, so again, like this was more like a continuation to my topic. We
Yeah.
thought like, and since we thought like micro housing is the topic, and Mumbai is looking for it, so anyways the coastal road was coming up.
Yeah.
So we thought that these are all dead spaces inside, and you don't want to take these community, fishing community, the Koli community away from
Away
that.
from
that.
absolutely.
And because of the coastal road, the most effective community is
Is the fisherman community. I know it definitely, because the media only showcases the pompousness of it, but you don't realize the ones who lose their identity through all these infrastructure developments. Yes, so I'm really interested how you work towards it.
So what we did is like we thought of more like a parasite architecture. We thought how we could design this module, because so we did a lot of research. Then again we thought about this community and this sustaining and again developing.
So just adding to community was one part of it, but for that project, we started looking at projects worldwide where people can expand the spaces within a small space. So even if you see Hong Kong or all the major Singapore cities which don't have space, but how they are doing the future housing. So we did a little bit of research on them, but we were thinking that one thing which came in our mind in India, like when you are young, you step out of your house, started your own. You don't need a full house for yourself. One small room can be enough for you.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you get married to a couple of people. So you don't need again a bungalow. You can 2 BHK is enough or 1 BHK is enough. Then we are thinking that tomorrow if your parents want to stay together, you want to stay together, then there is certain requirement. Then there is your family grows, kids comes, and there is certain requirement. So in a lifespan, there is always a requirement which comes in and out in your life. So we were thinking, what if we use the same approach in architecture, where you can add to your add something to your existing.
As and when needed.
As and when needed.
Not already having something thinking of the future. Oh, that's a wonderful thought.
So there was the idea of add to a cart. For example, we when we see a grocery, if you want to cook something, we normally add this thing we need, this thing we need,
online shopping.
So we need this thing because this is a requirement right now. So we all thought of same concept. Why we don't use the same concept with housing? So for example, so we came up with a module. There is a certain module which you can buy. So if you buy a module, so we use the pillars. First of all, we use the pillars of the coastal road. So once you have for example, a person who wants to buy just one module, he buys another module, tomorrow he gets married, he buys another module. It can be attached to that module. So it's a modular planning, but little bit of futuristic. But yeah, that was a competition project. So we thought we will not think about the practicality. We will come up with a completely different idea. What knows what can happen in future. So we came up with the idea that it will be a modular product where people can add to cart, like for their if they are living with the with family, they want 2 carts. Like toilets is different. There are 2 types of toilets. There are 2 types of beds. Do you connect 2 beds becomes a living room. So these kind of things which we thought, and even if you have pet, you have another attachment to it. So then if you don't want to have a room, you just buy a floor. So that becomes a terrace. So we thought of all in that aspect, and if we want to add, you can add any multi-level, or you just want 1 cube for a single person who is studying, just want 1 cube, he can just buy 1 cube.
Just to add on to it, that the process of designing, how it happened, we took the community, what he said, it was one part of it. Then we did a study, we created a narrative, like, how, say, like, okay, there is a couple who has a kid, now that kid is gone to school, then he's gone to college, he's gone to degree, so then after that, okay, now he's staying, he's working, so he wants to have his own space, so it's just a module. Then from his thing, that how he'll get married, he has kids, and so how that whole development, and because it's also about economical, financial steps, like from a person, from a kid to say you are aging, so adulthood, so how as per your financial, how you can afford. So it's so we'd given a floor plate, and then later on you can add floor plates, so it becomes like a parasite architecture also.
Wow.
And so it will be like between 2 columns, and we said you should have that community engagement. So we had given like floating decks, which will be like floating markets, like fish markets and all. So it's on the high tide, it will go up. So this all kind of flexibility and more of things. So we didn't give a very built thing. So this was the kind, and like we said, we were thinking what more can we add. So we were always sitting and doing brainstorming. So like one of our team member, she said, why not, it's so easy now when we just shop, like so easy to shop. For house we have to do so many things, like why not it can be just easy, like add to cart online, that module. So that's how we said, let's our top, that
Name
title was
title.
add to cart.
Oh. Interesting. Reena, tell me about the projects that you are handling or you were handling earlier and now also.
Okay, so when I was working, I like I said, I was working for a commercial architect. So we did a lot of residential. So I started feeling my hold is becoming much better on residential. But after coming from masters, my perception completely changed. And when I worked for a London-based company. So I joined there as an architectural designer. But whom I was working with, my senior, he was. I started doing a lot of master planning with him. So that's how my full thing got turned
Focus
to
changed. But then you were working when you were there in UK
No,
or
no,
after coming
after
here?
coming back,
Oh,
yes.
okay. So online you were helping.
No, so we came back here and they opened an office here in Mumbai. Yeah. So I wanted to come back to Mumbai for sure. Again, it was a thing that somewhere you foresee that you want to do something for yourself, but definitely gain some experience because you've already spent so much money. Try and get back.
Right.
So that's how it came. And then you want to target MNCs because they'll pay you much better than a local firm. So all those under that pressure, but I was glad I joined it. But we were
Enjoying it. And where did you meet Abhinav?
there itself.
Oh, there it's. So how were
So
you?
I was the first employee.
Oh, okay.
So in UK, when I was in UK, I wanted to come back to India for sure, because there was back of the mind I wanted to have my own. But when I started thinking about having my own firm, I thought ki I'm still not ready for it. I should be practicing more. Then I started applying to many MNCs, and I got through a couple of them. But I wanted to move to Bombay or any metro city. So for that matter, so I came here. Started when I came here. So I was not knowing that I will be the only employee. So I was the first employee for the. And it was quite interesting because I was the receptionist also. I was calling the vendor also. I was talking to Singapore people also, and so it was quite interesting for me. And then slowly people started coming, and we became a little bigger firm. But there what my experience quite good. Like I was doing housing competition project also, majorly focused in the housing, residential housing and all. Then so my interest was somewhere, also my interest was into hospitality. I always wanted to do in hospitality because I feel that there is a lot more you can explore in hospitality projects, even with the materials, even with the form, even with the planning, everything. Because hospitality is more about experiences rather than checklisting of bylaws and everything. The hospitality you have more leeway, like you can do this also, you can do that also. So somewhere down the line, I wanted to get into hospitality. So I got couple of experience in hospitality also, because there we were working with Singapore people also. I went to Shanghai also, so I worked in Shanghai for some time but there I learned about commercial buildings and all. So when I went there, then there was a completely again this my shift of thinking towards how the practice is done is completely changed. So people there were really hardworking, really, and they're very hands on. Like Turan, like the way we do sketches, they used to do models. Okay, this is how this is going to look. Okay, they slashed it with the snap off, and this is how it's going to. So they were hands-on people. So I learned that thing also from there. There is a thing which can we which we can incorporate. And then I became an associate वहाँ पे, and then I was enjoying everything was good. But back of the mind somewhere I wanted to work. I started my own. Then I took a decision of quitting.
It was a yeah, it was very tough. It is either it will make you or it will break you. So somewhere I give that credit. Because of that, I think I could push my thing, and I probably there was a lot of exposure also as compared to a local firm than to this.
One of the reason we wanted to push ourselves, because they were very hardcore designing firm. So we used to just focus on design rather than other things. So it was always a pushing, something which push you to spend more time in a studio. Okay, let's research all this. Let's do a brainstorming at 10 o'clock at night. So that was the only thing which pushed me actually to be in that firm and keep.
So then you started your firm after your marriage or earlier you
No, after.
Okay.
So that was another
So the
big
sabbatical
decision.
you were talking about.
Yeah, that was another big decision. We got married, and the 1 year down after our marriage, I thought of resigning and starting. So there is always thing, na, that after you get married, there is always the pressure of
Yeah, of course.
sustaining and
The
everything.
mainly the financial
and
burden.
And then that time you need a partner who supports you.
Yeah.
And then she saw me also that I am not in my good mood, always stressing out, always coming late and thinking about tomorrow rather than present. So she thought, if you are okay, if you think that you should resign, you should resign. So I said, okay, I'll take a decision. I took put my papers, and they said that they never wanted me to leave, and even people from Singapore wanted to come and discuss with me, but I took my decision that I won't be able to stay. And so
I think that was a very important,
very important
decision again.
Then I took a 6 month of completely rest sabbatical, because I was just thinking I gave a lot of time to practice. Now I should give more time to me, and then we traveled also in that time. And then the back of the mind, she was working. She was in partnership with somebody else.
Yeah, so before that I had already quit my job, and I started with one of my friend. We started again. We started taking up interior projects, because as a start off you do
Yeah,
like
always.
really,
Yeah, that's
it's a
we
small
always say that is our bread and butter. So when you say interior, it keeps
But
you.
in the start, people don't pay you for that.
No, of course, yeah.
Very
Because
difficult
that
to
is
get
very
a project
tough.
also.
It's
Yeah.
difficult. So you're constantly trying to prove yourself to the client,
Exactly.
and it becomes a little taxing. But I think it's every it's that initial
it's
phase
a
for
phase of
every
journey,
entrepreneur.
and secondly, interior majorly it becomes like even the client knows what to do. He will also say, they will also say, the relatives will also say.
Yes, everyone.
Everyone feels that we can do it.
Yes,
You know.
yes. Why?
So to show them that importance, try to explain it to them becomes a task. Very stressful. Yeah.
So there was like, because being in, like what I said, we started doing a lot of master planning, mixed use projects of 100, 150 acres. there was something like they used to give a whole thing, which was also another vertical that they called brand and identity. I want to get into branding and sort of a thing. So I started. So we did we started doing a branding also. So we didn't really help put ourselves to only architecture as such. So we even did a music festival. So we started promoting ourselves in a very different way.
And this is so important that you're saying, Reena, because somewhere as an architect, you are able to handle all these areas. You have your passions and hobbies in that. So, you just get whatever project you get and you feel, let us do
Let
it.
us do it.
Yeah, let's add value to that, any project, anything, but that's a
So there's something that my expertise and his expertise always came out to be a nice product. So we started when he started off. He started with another friend. I was continuing with my friend, but eventually we collaborated on a lot of projects together. So we started realizing that it's better we because initially like no, husband and wife should not be working together.
Yeah, because there are differences. दोनों के
yeah,
ego
they
अलग
were,
होते हैं.
they were, but slowly they get resolved.
Yeah, as you
One thing,
mature.
yeah, as you mature.
And somewhere I think you know each one's snacks, strengths. So then ठीक है, ये तुम handle करो, ये मैं करूँगी, and then we can to work it out.
But after certain experience only you are very clear that this is not my cup of tea and this is not our cup of tea.
Yes.
One thing which I would like to add here, when you start your own, and especially if you have done masters from abroad and everything, and you worked in MNC and all, it's very difficult to say yes to project like interiors and everything. Then you start questioning yourself that this is what why I have left.
क्यों इतना सब करके then whether I had to.
I was doing such a big projects in MNCs and suddenly I am doing interior 2 BHK 3 BHK. But I think that's a path you have to take. You can say no to that person, that project, and you can take time, but somewhere down the line you have to build your own portfolio.
And you should be confident that however small the project is, your education and your experience is going to make it different, so as you said, right, from branding maybe or this, they will realize your talent in it, and that is where ऐसे नहीं लगना चाहिए कि अरे ये छोटा है फिर हम क्यों कर रहे हैं. So well said. Yes, it's very important because that otherwise comes in the mind.
Yeah, it came in my mind. I said
yeah.
I was associate in MNC. I was handling such a big project, and suddenly I'm doing, and then and when you're talking to people, they are not at that level, at that level.
Yeah, of course. ऐसे लगता है हमें क्या, मैं किससे बात कर रहा हूँ. You're true. Yeah.
But you have to go through it.
You have to go through it.
But we were lucky enough in that sense because she was obviously doing some interiors for us. I partnered with one of my friend who I also met in. He was working in Bangalore, so he called me and he said, "Ki I heard that you have quit the job and you are starting your own." And I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking of." So, okay, would you be interested in joining me? So, and I asked him what you are thinking, and I'm also working, but I want to quit and start from. Now he is from IT Roorkee, so he had that mind of business and all. So he said ki I have a project, one of the resort project, this is half completed and half they want to build. So I said anything will work right now. We want to start, and luckily we presented them and they liked everything, and they said okay, we'll give you this project now, and from there it's rolled on because connection and so Bangalore में हम लोग का तो there was a time when we were thinking of shifting to Bangalore because Bangalore से काफ़ी वो आ रहे थे, calls आ रहे थे, projects आ रहे थे, and then COVID happens. Then it took it back to square one. So yeah, that was another challenge.
It was crazy.
We have to cut short our staff, everything. Whatever we were renting house, studio, we thought of letting it go.
He was very emotional, but I said it's better because now and then. But I think that is also after that a new culture about co-working and even that flexi working has come up, which I feel
we still adopt actually. So one thing which we learned after the COVID thing that it's not about the number of people you have in your studio. It's about the right people you have in the studio, and you can outsource each and everything except design. You cannot outsource design. So you have to have the core thing which in you and you can, because there is a BIM now. BIM is something which there are firms who do BIM completely, आपको पूरा solution देती है BIM का. So we don't want to increase the strength, even bigger projects come, but we want to outsource some certain things so that we don't overheads thing count हमारे उसमें, and which is luckily that's helping us right now, and that's a right strategy I think for many smaller firms.
Yes.
So rather than having, because you come, they might be a one big project which is paying you well, and suddenly hiring people for that project, and suddenly
and
that
then
project stops,
So
or suddenly then you have to, because that thing happened with us before.
and it is, when we are working ethically, it is very hard on us to let people go
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
with us,
Very true.
because we are so connected with them, and we feel that they should remain with us, like, you know,
They should also grow with
grow.
us.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what we thought, ki it's better to pay the people who are with us more than hiring another one, and certain element we can outsource.
So now, what all does your portfolio have? What are the types of projects that you have been doing?
So currently, like Abhinav said, we are working into majorly hospitality sector. So we started with resorts. We are still doing like eco resorts, and we are doing experiential centers, sales experiential centers. We are working for corporates like developers like Kalpataru, Godrej, Mahindra, and then obviously we have our individual clients. And another thing that we have also got into is like museums and experience center, which is more about immersive experience design. So we are designing like this is a project which is still under in concept stage, which is like a mythological museum. We cannot give our names as such.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like again how we have got this space designed and how we're designing installation. So again different. So it's again about women empowerment. So we have taken stories. So there's another team that we are collaborating with the technology team. So they have actually written a full story about, they have taken 21.
So it's just adding to your thing. It's quite interesting because this is also many. Like there is a story which is given to you that, for example, you have to depict a person shooting an arrow. How you can show that thing in architecture format. So that is very interesting, and how a person who is coming to view that story is going to experience it. So that's where interior architects, interior designer, there is a person who is a graphic designer, there is a person who do VR and AR things. They all come together to come up with the idea how this comes. So it's quite interesting to work with those people.
So that entire space should give you that experience, जहाँ पर वो shoot कर रहा है, वो all that, you know, and wow.
And we learned a lot that AR, VR, what is, how they are. Then they are transparent screen. They have different type of projectors which can do wonders. Like it can make places look completely different. So working with them, we again saw a completely different perspective.
Yeah, like for example, you're doing a science museum. So it's all again now it's up for kids mainly. So how we can like global warming, that is real.
Yeah,
so what we have
so
actually
awareness, how you can give it through.
So how we can engage kids also, or even people. So it's just not about static installations. It's about even engaging. So we've designed a globe, and there will be graphics, and then we have put cycles, so that you know there are more people coming and cycling, then the hot globe will become again green. So it's about even physical activity.
That's quite interesting actually. So the story was the client wanted us to represent a global warming situation and how we can make people aware of it. So the idea was to there will be a text and there will be graphs how the things which are making global warming things. So those kind of data will be given and people can read and see what how glaciers are melting or those kind of things. So we came up with the idea if we are targeting kids, they are not interested in all this
reading
data.
and yeah.
They will be interested what they can do
hands-on,
to
yes.
things. So what we thought we will give a globe in between, which is turning red. And there will be cycle and a place to jump on, and if you cycle, like again the idea here, cycle represent green thing, not vehicles, not vehicular thing. The idea is if a person or do a cycle, the redness will come down and becomes greener, and but if there are all cycles are filled up, will come down more.
It's like a collaborative.
And there will be a text on data on top, if we need help and those kind of things.
Yeah, so if you do it, it's like a feeling of कि हमने किया वो.
That
Oh,
Marvel,
that's so
Marvel,
nice.
में
Marvel वाला, yeah.
So if just two people are cycling, it's not turning, and then you see like turning green, but you're like, okay, let's come up
get
with
more,
like more people. So
yeah,
it's
oh,
that is
lovely.
nice. So it's been interesting. There's one more thing, like, generally people ask, do you have a design statement? Like before you said that, making an iconic, oh, we are designers, this is our style of design. We don't say that because we believe that every site has its own
Own,
this thing.
absolutely.
So we don't really call ourselves, oh, this is our style of designing or something like that. Yes, our approach is always taken how the site how the site responds to it, and how this our architecture or our design will also respond to it.
Even in corporate projects, where there is lot of restraint that you have to use certain materials, you have to. There also we are pushing our boundaries, and fortunately for us, they are getting accepted by our clients also, and they are also saying, yeah, we need to innovate in this sector also. So for example, just we normally when we are doing even interior designing for any corporate project, we come up with the idea. We don't come up with the Pinterest images. We come up with the idea, and that idea either can be a fresh idea, or it can be a big something which client has thinking about think about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So there's an example of, there was a project which is Bayview, and they that was the only brief which we given, that this is, and you have to design the clubhouse, everything, interior and everything. So we came up with the idea that it should be, what is bay view? You're looking at the bay, what do you see? You see a mangrove, you see a ocean and everything. It's very easy to pick. Okay, mangrove का concept ले लो, पानी का concept ले लो, या उसका. Reena, this is Reena's thought. That we came up with the idea that it's not only about those things, it's about the lights which you see throughout the day, like the shades
the
and
shades
hues
of
and
light
everything.
through that water, air, वो अलग ही दिखता है, because you see a bigger sky.
Yeah, it's just the vision. So
So the dawn may is completely, mangrove will look different, water will look different, dusk may will look different, daylight, sharp sun may different, dark may different. So we thought of coming up with those kind of ideas rather than just picking something, and we gave them three options of dawn, dusk and dark. With we use the hues, colors in our interiors. How can we use the elements from those things? And so we kind of, in concept also, we try to push rather than coming up with the Pinterest wala idea, because we really hate in our thing coming with the pin. We first come with the idea and then think about the Pinterest or thing, rather than first Pinterest and then thinking about idea. So yeah, that is something which we are also pushing in corporate world also, corporate projects also, that we should not limit our design just because certain.
Wonderful. Yeah, of course, of course. What advice would you like to give the architects, the younger architects of today?
no, I'll say if you believe in something, you should do it, because there will always be obstacles. Like, like when you're starting on your own, for example, there will always be a time where you are loaded with work, and there is some time where you absolutely have no work, and you will start feeling that, ki, what am I doing? It is just that, just push yourself, believe yourself. Definitely try and understand what you are like. It's obviously, we are right now also, we are still learning. I'm not saying that we have learned a lot. Each step is learning. Right now also, when we sit with our team who's even an intern, we appreciate his words, his intern, because it's something that we also look into a different, because we are stuck in a particular way. Oh yeah, some new fresh ideas, a new fresh perspective that really helps us. I just think you should believe and do whatever, and just stay strong about
Yeah, just stay strong, because a creative field like architecture will give you this, show you this path, with the hurdles and bumps and everything, but you have to keep going.
Also, for young entrepreneurs, also I like to say that initially it is always going to be a struggle, but always focus on building a portfolio. Because yes, in no clients will pay you, they pay you peanuts and expect a lot of work, which is always going to happen. But you don't focus on the money part of it, finance part of it. Focus on building your portfolio, because that portfolio right now, what you are charged, say X amount, then later on you will get paid 10X amount. But that portfolio is something that is what is going to be.
Right, right.
I think my advice will be to know your strength. If you know your strength, you can excel faster than not knowing your strength. So yeah, I think you should know your strength and work on it.
Yeah, and somewhere your undergraduation, post-graduation years are the ones where you need to introspect and try to find out, that even if you realize that this is what I like, this is what I don't like, is more than enough for that
Yes,
time.
very true. And
But you will,
accept it, like,
and
you know,
accept
very
it.
It's a
true.
yes no question.
It's a yes no question. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming here and giving your time. All the very best, our bestest
Thank
wishes, and I am sure we would meet again to know more about. Normally we say that Copperpod is a family. So once you are with Copperpod, it is something we go hand holding together.
Yes, we
Which you
really.
don't know where you would be needed to, which student and which young architect who can come and join you. So all the best.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you, my
us. It was
dear.
really
Yes,
nice.
same here.